What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the pre-lock show here on RotoGrinders. I am Brit Devine, back again from NBA Crunch Time. I got a new friend, my prop master brother himself, Chief Justice 06, Will Priester. Will, what is up, dude? This is going to be a fun game. I'm going to win all my bets. It's all coming true for me on this Eagles game.
It's sure better because today it's not going well overall. I mean, Britt, I'm talking about across anything. Like, I think we've done okay at soccer today, but like NFL, NBA, esports.
You like that Marcus Smart prop I had? He gets carried out middle of the game.
Oh God, it's been a rough day. But guess what? All it takes, Britt, is this is why you stay disciplined. All it takes is one hit, and it could change your day. So I'm good, man. I'm ready to rock, ready to talk about this thing. Let's help some people make some money.
Never go too big on the bankroll on any bet, no matter how much of a lock you think it is. Nice, even bets over and over and over and over and over again. That's how I play the game, along with DFS. So let's get into this. So what we're going to do, we're going to do DFS. We got Showdown. We've got props. I've got a bunch of bets on this game. We can talk about all of those. Let's start on FanDuel real quick, Chief. We'll talk DFS. That's what most people are here for. And let's talk some strategy tonight. We've got my personal opinion on this game is an Eagles absolute destruction of the Giants. I think the Giants are fraudulent. They beat the fraudulent Vikings in the battle of the fraudulent teams. The Eagles absolutely dusted him a couple of weeks ago when everyone was basically healthy. Struggled a little bit last week. I don't think Jalen Hurts was really close to 100%. He didn't run. He wasn't taking any contact, played very safe. I think after the bye week, he's good to go. He's got his starting left tackle back. Eagles domination. Blitz them big in the first half. That's what the Eagles always do. Keep it going in the second half. That's my take on the game. I think that's what the line says. That's what the ownership says. That's what everything say. What's your overall take on how this game plays out?
Yeah, I definitely think the Eagles win this game, Britt. I don't think, and look, and the thing is, that's not a knock on the Giants, Britt. Like, the Giants have drastically improved this season, right? In my opinion. So I don't think there's any reason, for us to assume that the Giants won't hang in there in this game. Are the Eagles the better team? Like, you better believe it. Like, there's no way I don't think the Eagles don't win. But I think the Giants hang around just enough here. And so for that reason, I'm very intrigued with this game, from a DFS perspective. I think this could be a really, really good game.
All right, so what are we looking at, right? So on FanDuel, MVP, no salary restrictions there. We've got Hurts.
Just plug Hurts in there.
Yeah.
It's no reason to fade Hurts in the MVP tonight.
You're probably right on that one. He's drawing a bunch of the ownership. I would agree. DraftKings is a little more interesting because the salary comes into effect there. But I could certainly get behind Hurts. Danny Dimes, Saquon Barkley. Do you have a preference between those on FanDuel? It looks like it's Daniel Jones. On DraftKings, it looks to be a dead heat. Who do you got between those two? If you were running a Giants, there's games Hurts has 25. There's games Daniel Jones with a rushing. He could have 100 yards and a touchdown on the ground, let alone whatever he gets through the air. I mean, that's certainly a possibility for Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley, right? So both of these guys have ways, I think, to winning MVP lineups. Do you have a preference between the two if you were choosing?
I feel like it's Daniel Jones. I think he's got more upside than Saquon in this spot. Like, just straight up, I think he's got more upside.
Yeah. Speaking of that, Daniel Jones, one of my favorite props of the week, Daniel Jones over rushing yards. Let me pull up scores and odds right now. We're not sponsored on this show, so I will pull up the absolute best book for you guys if you have access to it. Let's see. Props, rushing yards, Daniel Jones. Oh, it's dropped down to 42.5 on both FanDuel and MGM. You can get it at minus 115 on both of those. Over 42.5. To me, Chief, I wrote this up earlier in the week. His rushing ability, this is akin to Justin Fields earlier in the year when we were playing him, when we realized he was going to run more and the books didn't adjust. And this is exactly what we're going to have in here. 17 rush attempts last week. Will he get 17 in this game? I think it's always tough to count for 17 quarterback runs, but the dude is going to run. There's no question. He did it with Josh Allen. Brian Dable did in Buffalo. He's unleashing Daniel Jones in the run game, scrambles, design plays, all that sort of fun stuff. That is one of my favorite props of the week. Over 42.5 is your best line right now on FanDuel and MGM. What do you want to do from the flex position on FanDuel? Because there's quite a few ways to make it. I think what's the majority of builds going to be 3 Eagles or 4 Eagles out there tonight?
I got to think the majority. Honestly, it might be 2. I think because of the way this thing is set up, I think people might lean Giants because of the pricing. Don't you, Brit?
I mean, what? You play Hurts? What's like if I click the optimal right on the RotoGrinders? Hurts MVP, Bellinger, Slayton, Goddard, Jones, right? It's sort of what it's doing. So I understand that from a salary perspective. You're probably going to want to play both quarterbacks, I think, for sure on FanDuel. There is a question in Discord. Would you play? This is more from a FanDuel tournament.
Sorry, Britt. You're right. We're talking FanDuel. I have my DraftKings up. My bad.
Yeah.
My bad.
Someone wants to know on FanDuel from our Discord. Would you fade both quarterbacks on FanDuel? I don't. That's a very tough sell.
I don't think you can do that.
Yeah, I don't think I would do that. I don't even know if I'd fade either quarterback, honestly. In this particular game, I would just try to leave some salary and get a little weird with the ancillary choices because I just think Hurts and Jones are in store for big games. Jones specifically on the ground. As long as he doesn't turn the ball over, we'll have to see if they're forced to push the ball in the second half. Maybe Daniel Jones reverts to some of those turnovers. Maybe you see him in the second half, but at least through the first half, I think they're going to stick with what's been working for him this year. So pairing with Hurts, what do you prefer? Do you prefer the passing game of a A.J. Brown, a Devontae Smith, or the run game and a Miles Sanders? And you've got the Boston Scott Giants killer. I think he's got a touchdown in 8 straight games, maybe 9 against the Giants. You can you chalk them up for 8 points on FanDuel right now. Is that how it works, Chief?
I think so. Eliminate.
So what's your preference with Hurts, right? If you're picking one player, because even the optimal is throwing in, right? It's throwing in Goddard with some Giants. Do you want to go that way? Is this basically what you meant? I think even on FanDuel, maybe that's what the salary's putting it to you.
Yeah, man. It feels like I would lean Hurts, sprinkle in some Giants. I think that's the way to go in this game, man. Like I feel like Hurts has kind of been out of sight, out of mind, and because of that last game at the end of the season, we're thinking that Jalen Hurts is a scrub. But let me tell you something. This guy can put up fantasy points out of nowhere. You know what I mean? Like he can score with the best of them. I think it's Hurts. I think you run it back with some Giants. And the reason why I'm saying that, mostly Giants receivers, and here's why I'm taking that approach. Like, if Philly puts up big numbers in this game, it's because of Hurts. And if the Giants are going to get back in this game, it's because of Daniel Jones, but it should be through the receivers. If they get behind, they're going to have to throw. So the receivers are going to be picking up chunk yardage. And that's my viewpoint on this game.
I want to jump over to DraftKings really quick here because the captain does involve a little bit more strategy. And I want to think about Giants receivers maybe a little bit too, Chief, in the back of your mind here. But first, captains, DraftKings. A little bit more interesting, right? Because if you're playing for Hurts, you're really spending a lot of salary to do that. He's still the highest owned, but it's not as big of an edge as it is over on FanDuel. We've got Hurts, Barkley, and Jones eating up about 40 to 45% of the ownership. Do you have on DraftKings between Barkley and Jones, do you have a clear favorite? It's a little bit less on FanDuel. I think Daniel Jones is for sure my preferred. On DraftKings, do you have one?
I'm still rolling with Daniel Jones.
Yeah, and he's cheap.
I think Daniel Jones is the key to this whole offense. So they're going to go as he goes, kind of like Hurts is going to go, or the Philly offense is going to go as Hurts goes. And so I think you want both of these guys in there because if push comes to shove, like that's who they're going to need. They're going to need Daniel Jones to get them to the promised land. So give me Danny Dimes.
Do you prefer? I sort of have I know AJ Brown isn't I think he's a true alpha, but Devontae Smith is really good. He's had good games against the Giants, both games this year. Gets targeted. How the Giants play defense is definitely how Devontae Smith prefers to be prefers to play. I like him for a big game. I'm okay foregoing AJ Brown for Devontae Smith. You also get a really big discount on Dallas Goedert. I like Goedert to have a big game too, and I know his salary is making him very viable. I like those two. Giants pass catchers. I'm a little down. I've got the under on Bellinger. His snap count went down last week. They were playing one of the backups a little bit more. And I want Bellinger to play basically 100% of the snaps, not 75 or 80. And I think that's probably going to continue if you ask me into this game. So I'm a little bit down on Bellinger. What about the rest of the receivers? You've got Richie James, I believe, has had big games, both games against the Eagles. Or no, he had the big game against the Eagles earlier. He didn't play in last week. Hodgins had the big week. Was it last week when we were all on Richie James? Do you have a preference between these two? How do you see it playing out between? Because that's a big decision tonight. James just coming in so much cheaper. He had the big game already against Philly. I'd sort of lean him just from the salary savings you get there because of the down week last week.
I mean, so it feels like who's going to get the Darius treatment? And I mean, it doesn't it feel like Hodgins should get the Darius Slay treatment? Like that's what it feels like to me. I don't
think Darius Slay is going to care who Richie James or Isaiah Hodgins is, and I don't know. It's just whoever might be lined up against him the most. There's no way he's going to follow either of these dudes around the field.
This one is a tough call. Like if they're behind, I think they're both equal because you got to throw the ball to someone, which is going to leave James Slayton or Hodgins. I guess give me the nod with Hodgins. I mean, they seem to have been really getting him involved here recently, like just across the board. Like if you look at targets, 6'4", 11, 5, and 9 last week. Last time they played Philly, he had 6 targets. I think he's going to be involved. Like give me Hodgins straight up.
Do you got a favorite if you're reaching deep for a captain or some flex plays that you might want to reach into the bag for in order to save salary? I think I really like Devonta Smith tonight. I just don't think you're getting enough of a discount on DraftKings to want to throw him up in the captain spot. You think like the Eagles D we have at 4% and Bellinger at 2%. I would play the Eagles D like 100 out of 100 times over Daniel Bellinger tonight. And like Boston Scott, of course, right? He's gonna get the touchdown. He's someone I wouldn't mind playing, but he's priced up because I think DraftKings specifically knows, hey, he gets touchdowns against the Giants. Everyone knows that. People at DraftKings care about that, so he's been priced up. I think as low as I'm not really on Quez. I'm not really on Bellinger. I don't know. I'm not really interested in many of these long shots outside of. You can convince me maybe on Elliott and Eagles D. And other than that, I would be much more apt to play a Richie James, a Hodgins, a Goddard in the captain spot on DraftKings for the salary savings, and then just stack my team with the rest of the good players out there.
I mean, yeah, I think that's the way to do it because there's not a lot of value in this game, so you got to get creative, Brit. I'm going to play some Graham Gano tonight. The Giants typically will kick a fair amount of field goals. We also saw Jake Elliott, weird game. He kicked, I think, 5 the last game against them. That was a weird game. But I think the time before that, he kicked 3. And it could have been 2. But my point is, tough game, division matchup. I do trust the field goal kickers here to get it done.
Yeah, just throwing if you play like Richie James, a captain, you basically have your pick of your favorite 3 Eagles good players, and then you get a punt play to round out the rest of your lineup if you were going to, go that route for a Giants receiver. I don't hate that. They get blitzed in the first half. I think that's almost all but a guarantee. So another bet I have from Scores and Odds, I already cashed the first half. So I ran this for both games for today. It was the Chiefs and the Eagles to both be leading at halftime and to win the game. So I got that on the first game. I think you can get the Eagles at it's a minus 160 for the Eagles to win the first half and then also win the game. So if you wanted to bet that, maybe in a same game parlay with some Daniel Jones rushing alt line of 25 yards or something like that, I think that's a very safe bet that should get you around even money. So I like that bet quite a bit. I just think the Eagles are going to blitz them in the first half. They do it all year long. And if Jalen Hurts is even 80%, this Eagles offense should be humming in that first half. So anything to do with Eagles first half winning, points, alt lines, spread, whatever you can get, if you're mixing up some same game parlays or anything, get that in on the sports books. I think that's about as close to a lock as you can get, in my opinion. Your favorite, I know you always like the kickers, Graham Gano. The Giants defense. Actually here, so I always like to talk on these shows. What does the Giants win the game build look like? Right? Again, because you're probably going to be a little off the board. Is it the turnovers with the Giants defense and sacks, or is it, just an all-out shootout all night long, Daniel Jones going crazy, a receiver going crazy, Barkley going crazy type of lineup? How do the Giants win lineups get up there tonight?
I think it's the Daniel Jones goes crazy. And by crazy, I mean, at this point, you got to be banking on Daniel Jones to probably have rushed for 60-plus yards, thrown for 2 touchdowns, and probably thrown for about 230, 240. You get what I'm saying? That's what it looks like. And the possibility of 1 rushing touchdown. I think that's the Daniel Jones scenario.
Yeah, and so if you were playing that, I know – I live in New York, right? So I talk to Giants fans all the time. They're convinced the Giants are going to win this game, the spread. And I have no team allegiance, player allegiance. I don't care about anything. I care about props and DFS and spreads and things like that. So everyone's like, Daniel Jones is the real deal. We crushed Minnesota and they were 12 and 13, just a really good record. But I think the Vikings were really fake. It would be Daniel Jones. I do like that. I think that the Giants are going to have, if the Giants win this game, I don't mind the Giants defense. They're going to need turnovers, and you can get there with some turnovers, and they're cheap. I don't hate playing that, but I would definitely be playing a Richie James. I would play 2 of Hodgins, James, and Slayton without question with Daniel Jones in my captain spot, along with probably Barkley, and then maybe run it back. Well, 2 out of the 3 of Barkley, Hodgins, James, maybe Slayton, and then run it back with maybe Hurts. I don't know if you're going to be able to get that, but your favorite Eagles player that's going to be the one outperforming. Because Hurts, if the Giants win, I think Hurts probably has a down game and he's still hurt. Giants D maybe creeps in there. All right, that's the only lineup I see really coming through in a Giants victory scenario, right? Where Hurts maybe fails a little. The Giants D is able to come through. Daniel Jones, you hit it. 60 yards rushing, a touchdown, 2 passing, and the Eagles aren't able to score 40 points in this game. That's sort of how I would see something like that coming through.
Yeah.
Bets I already mentioned. Well, actually, I want to get your take. You got any props for this game? I mentioned mine, Daniel Jones. I like Eagles to win. I like the Eagles in the first half. I like any alternate first half spread you can get. I'm on the Eagles minus 7.5 straight up. I got that on MGM right before the show. Anything Eagles I'm on. How about you?
Yeah, I'm actually taking Daniel Jones over 217.5 passing. I think they're going to have to pass the ball to win this game. So I'm taking Graham Gano over 3.5 first half fantasy points. I'm actually taking Jake Elliott over 1.5 field goals. Giants defense has held this team enough. And those are my main ones. I like Devontae Smith over receiving yards.
Yes.
He's someone at 62.5. He's someone that I'm getting in on with him. And then in terms of, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put him with these receivers. Like Hodges at 45, I think I'm going to take it. Like I think he's proven enough with the volume. If he can get a couple of these intermediate throws, 2 or 3 of those, like we're getting very close. So I'm basically playing the Eagles run away with it script, and then I'm also playing Jalen Hurts over 2.5 pass rush receiving touchdowns. Mm-hmm. So basically, he can throw 2, run 1, some combination thereof. But I like that one as well. And
yeah, I want to go through the boosts on the sports books. I've taken most of them. I think DraftKings had a Jalen Hurts. What is this? 2+ TDs was -150 on DraftKings. You can get that to +100, so an even money bet for him to toss 2 touchdowns. That's a nice one for this one. On FanDuel, their current boosts, if you have access to the sports books, always want to check the boosts. Typically, they're very positive EV. Sometimes I don't know if they're trying to mess with us on the lines I don't really want to take, but this one is Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts, and Daniel Jones to score 2+ combined rushing or receiving TDs. What do you think the boosted line on that is? So Barkley, Hurts, and Jones to score 2 rushing or receiving TDs. It's on FanDuel.
Is it? Don't tell me they gave
all
you
3,
1.5.
All 3. No, it's all 3 of them combined to score 2 or more. So it's over 1.
Plus 400.
No, the boosted line's plus 170. So their line is plus 105, and the boosted line is plus 170. I think that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like the DraftKings boost better. The Hurts to throw 2 passing TDs. If you were looking at those, always check your boosts on your sportsbooks. Looking for questions. If you guys have any in YouTube, or I guess you can go to the NFL Crunch Time Discord if you're a premium member. I'll check that. I'd love to answer any questions. Do you have any props for tomorrow's games? I know we're talking about tonight's game, but I think we've covered a lot of our DFS favorite plays. I think it's a really limited selection. I'm not playing too many of the deep value guys outside of Boston Scott. But for tomorrow's games, we've got the Cowboys and 49ers. We've got the Bills, Bengals. I've struggled to find a lot of the props I like for both of those games. I think I'm on the over on the 49ers game, and I'm on the under in the Bills game. I think the Bills game is going to have some weather concerns. That's all I was really on. What are you looking at it from a prop perspective?
So let's see. Well, I gotta go. Brit. I gotta go through the cards. The cards will tell me everything.
I mean, that's a day-long scroll for you to get through the cards.
So I do have Burrow over 275.5. We got him a little bit lower earlier in the week. One that's coming in at the prop shop that's been a heavy one. Dak Prescott over 21.5 completions. That's been a big one. Now that Zeke is bumped down, Brit, I kind of got this one from Cardi. He's at 34.5. I'm going to trust him on this. I'm taking the over at 34.5.
I still wouldn't touch that.
What's that?
I still know. Well, I got the under. We got that at 48.5. So we're looking good in the prop.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, 239.5 for Brock Purdy. We're taking the under. He hasn't seen a defense this good all year. I think he's going to have some trouble. So we're taking. I'm taking the under 239.5 on Brock Purdy. In terms of targets here, I am going with Stephon Diggs over 9.5 targets. And here's why. I think Cincinnati is going to be up in this game. And I think the Buffalo is going to have to keep up at some point. So at 9.5 targets, I like that. And then, of course, we got in on the receiving yards prop a little bit earlier this week when he was at 79.5. On Underdog, he's at 82.5. I still don't hate it. But that target prop is one that interests me because I think, I think they're going to have to give him the ball if they want to win this game, period.
Mm-hmm. I just talked myself into Dallas Goedert over 4.5 receptions. That is almost even money, minus 102 on FanDuel currently. If anyone's looking for a last-minute bet, I like that. Devonta Smith, I already mentioned I like him. I'm on Smith and Goddard I'm not on Brown. I'm taking overs. I don't know if I should be taking an AJ Brown under. Are you scared at all? We didn't really talk about him. The Giants really schemed to take away Justin Jefferson. There was a lot of coverage rolled towards him, and they sort of eliminated him from the game. Now, when you have Adam Thielen and KJ Osborne as your secondary options, maybe you can do that, and it funneled to TJ Hawkinson. I don't know. Can the Giants do that to AJ Brown? Because you have Devonta Smith and Dallas Goedert, and these are, this is an all-class wide receiver receiving crew they have here in Philadelphia right now. I don't know if they can do that to AJ Brown, but if they do decide to do it, this is why I'm on Goddard and Devonta Smith so heavily tonight. I think these are the guys that can really flourish tonight.
Yeah, I definitely think they can do it. And for Devonta Smith, he needs one big play. I mean, he literally one big play down the middle, Brett. Up a seam, a breaking in route, and the yards after the catch ability. Because he's so fast, Brett, sometimes they'll give him cushion. That'll also help him. So I'm with you on Smith. I'm with you on Goddard. I like these guys. I put my card into the prop shop for this game right before the games. Daniel Jones over 217.5. Devonta Smith over 62.5. Graham Gano over 3.5 fantasy points first half. Jake Elliott over 1.5 field goals made. Isaiah Hodgins over 45.5 receiving yards because I think they're going to have to throw late. And then Jalen Hurts, I actually took him over 24.5 fantasy points. I think if touchdowns are being scored, I feel like it's coming through Jalen Hurts tonight. And so, if he score, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, you go ahead.
I think Jalen Hurts goes for 3 touchdowns. And so I know everybody's saying, well, you probably just should have taken the touchdown prop. I have that too. But I think he rushes for 1, throws for 2. That's going to put us right at 18 fantasy points. Now it's up to how much does he rush on the ground. I did check the blitz. The blitz had him for about 60, right? Roughly 60 yards. I think that's close enough. Maybe he is in 40s. And then does he throw for 240-ish? We see that. I'm feeling real good about my chances here at 24.5.
I want to know the Eagles are getting the ball to start, so all those first half bets. Whoo, boy, I'm feeling good, Chief. I'm on all those with the Eagles offense on that one. You get the ball to start. Sounds like trouble for the Giants. We're right up against lineup lock. I don't see too many questions in here, so hopefully you guys got your DFS teams in. I hope you guys enjoy some of the sports betting talk. I think, so many states, I know, well, maybe not so many, but a lot of people, myself included, we have sports books, we have all the prop sites. I always like to talk about those in the shows I'm on. And well, of course, when I'm on with Chief, we're definitely going to be talking about those. I don't know. You got any thoughts on how Sunday's games go, like line-wise, spreads, or anything like that, Chief? How do you see Sunday playing out?
I do think the Bengals win straight up. That's kind of my big one. And Bengals plus 5.5. I feel like I kind of got on that one almost before everybody, even the TV personalities. And then I checked the television. Everybody's on Bengals plus 5.5 like the next day. But that was kind of the obvious line, when I was checking that day. Of course, I wrote that one up on Scores and Odds as well. But once again, I think the Bengals win straight up, Brett. I don't think Buffalo's going to win this game. I don't. And as a result, I had to take it.
Yeah, that's the 5.5 does seem a little high because the Bengals were definitely on their way to definitely competing in that game, if not outright winning it through the first quarter. I think that was pretty clear. We'll have to see. They are down 3 offensive linemen. I mean, they're really hurting on the offensive line. The Bengals are. The Bills' defense isn't that great. It's just gonna be Joe Burrow doing 5 million quick passes to Jamar Chase. So go get your Chase receptions prop. Hit the over on that. I think that
go get
outside of an injury.
I don't potential on that one on Prize Picks too, Brett. Is that 7?
Yeah,
so we got a little
outside of an injury. I don't really see how that doesn't come through. But I don't know. I guess we're gonna have fun. Go watch this game. Everyone enjoy it. Thanks for tuning in for this show. If you watch Crunch Time for NBA, hopefully NBA is going well for everybody. Tune back in tomorrow, I believe. Let me look at the schedule. I believe we're going to have a before lock show for each football game. So going down to Sunday, let's see what we got cooking up here. So there's a lineup HQ at 10 o'clock. They'll go through the whole slate. There's a pre-lock at 12:30 for the first game. There's a pre-lock at 4 for the second game. Will and I will be on crunch time for basketball. And then there's the Gilcast, which, of course, will come out Monday morning. Always a fun listen to if you want some comedy along with some football takes from those guys. So a full slate tomorrow starting at 10 o'clock for the full slate. And then half an hour before each game, we will bring you another NFL show. Will, it's been fun. May all your props come true. It ain't tennis this week, but it can be something else for us.
Listen, I had a great week, and I'm sure these guys aren't watching. That's okay. They don't have to be watching for me to be grateful. Once again, thank you. Watch out, Rando ran the cat. These guys literally put the prop shop on their back and stuffed our wallets last weekend through Tuesday, Wednesday. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Thank you for being in the prop shop. Thank you guys for joining us on the pre-lock show.
Yeah,
right before
Devonta Smith already with a huge gain. Eagles about to score. So everything's looking good for me. Already, Devonta Smith already.
No. Was it a pass? Because, I don't want it to be one of those stupid end around.
Yes, it was. So Eagles continuing to come out hot. We'll see if they score. I got to go watch this game. I think it's it depends if the wife will let me, but a couple beers in the hot tub and watch the game.
40 yards.
Yeah, a couple beers in the hot tub, watch the game if the wife will allow it, Chief. Do you think I can get that through?
You might be able to.
It's how many bathrooms do I have to clean in the morning? How many bathrooms should I say I have to clean in the morning in order to be able to do this tonight?
Just clean them all. Strap up and clean them all.
All right, guys, we're going to get out of here. I'm going to go negotiate my way into a good time tonight. Thanks for watching. For Chief, I'm Brit, and we out you.